welcome to my channel, the Grimm Reader. I have acquired a new piece of equipment, and so I'm testing it out. Hopefully the sound is a little bit better. I may have to sort of play around with placement, and I'm sort of anxious to, I'm leaning forward, which I don't want to do because it's one of my other pet peeves that I get too close to the camera, but I sort of like want to talk into it. But I think we're good. I think we're good enough, and we'll just see. So I decided to come on here quickly to do a tag, and this is not. So I do know that quite a while ago I was tagged in by Jen from Remembered Reads to do the Beatles tag, and I was looking at the questions, and they're gonna take too much out of me on a Sunday afternoon when I'm trying to sort of calm down before a teaching week. So I'm going to put that one off, even though it's older than this one. But Marilyn Maya Mendoza, the baby boomer booktuber, tagged me in not too long ago in the "Why haven't I read this tag? These books tag," which I'm a little hesitant to because I have not read many more things than I have read. So it's sort of like, why haven't I read these books? Because it's just not enough time, and I've never been a voracious reader. I've always been a picky reader. So there's tons of things on my shelves that I haven't read. So what I did when I chose these things, it's more to do with, well, they're sort of on my imaginary TBR. They're on the periphery. They feel like books that I do want to get to sooner rather than later, which I think is the sort of the impetus behind this tag. And I'm trying to see if I can see who created the tag. Oh, Greg, another bibliophile reads, created this. Oh, okay. And it was inspired by another channel, Fiber Artsies. Anyway, let's get to it because I don't want this to be too long on a Sunday afternoon. So a classic book. I have lots of classic books that I haven't read. It's kind of embarrassing, to be honest. Let's see. So the two I wanted to get to at some point in my life, and I've already kind of acquired nice editions of them. The Metamorphoses I've never read. I haven't read a lot of classical literature, so Latin and Greek. I'm severely underread there, to be frank. So I need to read this for sure. It's embarrassing that I'm admitting here on camera that I've never read it. I've read bits and pieces of it. I've read the Golden Asses. No, that's a Puleus. I apologize. It's not Ovid. So yeah, I need to get to this. Actually, looks good. It's like a long. It's like in verse. Yeah, definitely need to get to it. The other one that I do want to get to is the Decameron, but among other things that I need. I need to get to the Divine Comedy too. But I picked this one because I bought this edition not too long ago, the Decameron, so I do want to get to it too. These are long books for me. They'll take me a long time. They're projects. Everything's a project with the Grimm Reader. Everything turns into a project. But I might start one time and just dip into it and see how it goes. Have you read these? Tell me your thoughts. A lot of people have, of course. A fiction book, so basically just any old fiction book. Take your pick. There's so many I haven't read. But I'm going to talk about this one because I don't really want to read it, even though I loved the rest of the Gileads. But I never liked Jack. I didn't like Home, which I'm seeing. I don't have that copy on my shelf. Oh my gosh, where's my copy of Home? Maybe I don't even have a copy. I read it on my ebook. Is indicative of me not liking his character. I always just thought he was awful. And I thought that in Home, the sister was way too indulgent of his awfulness. I thought they all were. I don't know, he just made me crazy. And so this is all about him, my least favorite character. That's why I don't want to pick this one up. And tell me if you've read this one. And I know I got sort of mediocre reviews. I don't think it was as well received as Gilead or Lila. But maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if you've read it, and tell me if I really should pick it up, which I probably should, just to complete the full set of the books. So this is the one I picked for just any old fiction book that I haven't read. So many. The genre book that I'm picking is Ursula K. Le Guin. I've always wanted to read Le Guin. I have read the Tombs of Antoine, the YA trilogy. of yesteryear. And she was very revered in our household. You know, my mother, the writer. My mother actually was her kind of chaperone, so to speak, when she made her first trip to Sydney, Australia, or to Australia. And so she kind of got to meet her and got to know her quite well. And she arranged this soiree at our rich friend's house. Oh, they had a really nice house, much more where you want to have a soiree than our house. And so she came over to this our friend's house, and everyone was very excited to meet her, and it was very interesting. And so I want to get to this. I remember this specifically when this came out, my parents discussing it and really, really enjoying it. And I don't have a good excuse for why I haven't read it, besides the fact that I haven't read a lot of things. So I should get to it. The other one I just got, so this is a new copy for me, you know, it's not new, is The Left Hand of Darkness. And so there's this podcast that I haven't really listened to, but I think it's called Behind the Books. And the creator of the podcast interviewed her, and I think even wrote a book together with her based on these interviews about, and it has to do with writing. And sorry I'm being so vague, but I just realized that there's this other thing going on. Anyway, tell me your thoughts on Le Guin, a classic science fiction writer. And I should definitely this is definitely on my TBR for soon, very soon. We'll see how soon. Next up, the book owned for the longest time but has not read yet. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. I skipped over nonfiction for reasons. No, but I don't have a good track record with nonfiction. I mean, I read a lot of stuff to do with my studies, you know, articles and books to do with what I was studying. But since that's not really happening anymore, I don't read, and a lot of sort of I don't know, what I call journalistic nonfiction, which is a stupid term, but I cannot stop. I have a hard time finishing them. Like, I started Empire of Pain, I never finished it. I started the other one that he wrote about the Troubles, never finished it. And I just set them aside and get distracted and do other things. I'm just weird with nonfiction. The only nonfiction book that recently I've loved is the one by Margaret Young about the utopian communities, Angel in the Forest. But she's special. Her nonfiction's, it's very, very literary, very fictional. It's like almost poetic. It's like poetry, but it's nonfiction. It's just amazing. I love her so much. And so the book I chose, because I do kind of want to maybe get to it, is Hannah Arendt's book on the Jewish-German salonier. So she had hosted her own salon, Rahel Varnhagen. And this has been on my shelves for quite a while. And yeah, Hannah Arendt, I think I read most of Eichmann in Jerusalem, Banality of Evil, although I don't think I read the whole thing, to be frank. But that might be the only Arendt that I've read, I think. So I should read this, because this is an early work, and I'm interested in the subject. Rahel Varnhagen is adjacent to the woman I did research on for a while. Yeah, so nonfiction book that I haven't read and would like to. And then last but not least, just as a kind of the book owned for the longest time but has not been read yet. Well, I have quite a few of my mother's books, and I don't even know how they got to be in Ohio, since they started out in New Zealand and then went from New Zealand to Australia to Germany to Ohio. So these are well-traveled books, and I guess what happened was I probably just packed them on one of my trips to Germany, brought them with me. I don't think there was maybe some was sent to me. I think they mostly traveled just in my suitcases. I really don't remember how I got hold of this book from yesteryear. So this is the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, translated by Edward Fitzgerald. And it's like a poem or stories. And basically, this is one of the strange books that you could even pick up for Victober, because Edward Fitzgerald wrote this, or this was published in 1859. It became really popular as a kind of a Victorian, the first sentence is actually kind of interesting. It says here, for the great bulk of English readers, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam means the one particular translation done so divinely well by Edward Fitzgerald when the Victorian era was at its most self-centered and self-sufficient stage of development. I think that's a good description of the Victorian era, self-centered and self-sufficient. A really interesting era, and yeah. So, oh, this was written by Lawrence Hausman. I don't know who he is. The Astronomer Poet of Persia. So you could read, and it even has interesting sort of illustrations. It's interesting. I don't know who that is. It's heard great argument about it. Anyway, so does it have other? Oh yeah, it does have other illustrations. That's kind of cool. So it's almost like a picture book. Oh, interesting. Should check for other paraphernalia from my mother. Like she did like to press flowers in her books. Oh, I'm caught on camera here. There's tiny little ancient flowers. There's one right there. That's funny. I didn't expect to find flowers because it's such a small little book, and I found another one. I don't even want to touch it, but I guess I should do. It would be good to find out. Like, is it from New Zealand? Where is this piece of plant from? Intriguing. See, I guess I haven't. It hasn't been picked up in a while. Let's put it that way. Even though it's well traveled, I'm looking for other stuff, but I don't think there's anything else in here. And sometimes she would draw on the end papers. She was actually not a bad artist, which is interesting. Much better than I am. I could never draw. I'll show you when I pick up a different book of hers. So all around creative lady was my mother, mainly in the writing realm. And then the poignant little, it was given to her by her mom. It says, "Cherry from Mother with Love," in 1942 on her birthday. Yeah, that's her birthday. The 3rd of September would have been her 12th birthday. And they didn't have the best relationship. The mother, when the father didn't come home from the war, the grandmother, whom I never met her mother, sent her off to boarding school when she was very young, like maybe this age, and my mother kind of resented that. She didn't want to go to boarding school. She would have hated Harry Potter because she hated any kind of overly sentimental depiction of boarding schools, just because she thought they were terrible places, and they probably are. I don't know. So yeah, thank you, Marilyn, for tagging me. I just did this off the cuff, and I don't have anyone else I can think of that I straight away want to tag. So I'm really bad about tagging people. I apologize, but I'm just gonna not tag people. And so, because this is a very off the cuff little video right here. We'll see if this sounds better. That's kind of why I did this, and I hope everyone's doing well. And at some point, I'll come back to you with I have another stationery set of things to unpack. Not too many, but the last of the birthday things. And Victober stuff is looming, but I'm not quite ready yet. I'm still waiting on a few things. And yeah, I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Hope everyone's doing well, and bye for now.